And welcome to Concord SpeedWay as the Southern Outlaws get ready to duel here live in prime time. Oh, and we already got Calamity Corner unfolding on the front stretch as we got two cars that have created a hot dumpster fire out there on the Speedway. Looks like it's going to be Mason Cassidy who's going to get the worst end of the deal, as that's going to bring out the green flag just as we break into coverage here tonight. Or the yellow flag, excuse me. I want to thank everyone for joining us here live tonight on Redline Racing Network. Had a minor production problem, so we went over to our sister network. Want to thank everyone that's on board for the ride tonight. As that pace truck now gets racked and stacked, as this field gets set to do battle here, live short track style here this evening.
Yeah, just a little bit of a production issue, but we will, thank you for stepping in for me, man.
Hey, anytime, boss man. Always a pleasure to help out. Too bad you and I couldn't be on the show tonight, but perhaps Flo can make an appearance next week, brother.
Flo definitely will, and again, I'm going to go try to figure out my issue on the channel, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Well, we want to thank Matt J for stopping in here and all the hard work that he does behind the scenes on a daily basis to make sure all the production is set and all the leagues are taken care of, as we are now racked and stacked, ready to rock and roll here behind that iRacing.com pace truck. Field now set to roll. Going to have to do some quick modifications here on the SDK file, ladies and gentlemen, so please bear with me just for a moment. Let's get that proper league identification on the screen for you guys tonight. Working here with our graphics team to get that updated for the broadcast. Again, just a last minute change here on the production side of things. Not going to leave anyone hanging. We just had to go to our partner network, and we are rack stacked, ready to rock and roll for some green flag action here at Concord. Oh, and right off the bat, we got problems. Big time issue there for the 46. Actually, his timing and scoring is showing the 21, but I believe that is Philip Martin, who got dumped there right off the initial drop of the green flag here. You see the whole front of that Monte Carlo is MIA, missing in action. So this is going to give these drivers another opportunity. Reach up there, pull those belts tight one more time, wipe the visor while you're at it. You got some G Fuel, Gatorade, Powerade, whatever your beverage of choice is. Another last second for some refreshment. There's those lights now out on that Chevrolet Silverado leading the field. And just as I thought, 46 thought he was going to come down pit road and makes the last second change there and aborts. See how well that Monte Carlo gets around here with no nose on the front of that thing. Send it up now to the front of this piece. Christopher Benning, Ryan, my favorite Ellis, going to be on the front row here. If you guys remember from last week, these drivers put on an absolute clinic Green flag back in the air, and these V8s come roaring back to life once again. It's a side-by-side John Force affair. They even went up there, doored each other just a little bit. That's going to allow Dylan Ritchie there in the 26 machine, who's up 4 spots from where he started. Biggest mover of the race, and I was talking about the drift action. Well, you just seen it there again, folks. Well, that is unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, Matt. However, the good news is we have our backup channel live covering the action, and I got you up here in the booth with me, and it's been a doozy already as these guys are picking right up where they left off last week.
Yes, sir. And I thought, that I think it would be a fight all the way through. In the stream, and it looks like everything's going excellent.
Yeah, everything is just peachy, as you like to say at times. As Dylan Ritchie here in that 26 machine, he's been putting on a show here early, tied for the biggest mover of the race, along with the 8 of Adam Holston. And if you remember from last week, Holston had a night to remember as he got caught up in a lot of that intense moments out there on the racetrack, trying to rebound a little bit here, if you will. With just 5 laps remaining in this event, he can hold on to that 3rd place position. He'll be good to go to the big show. And want to thank Matt J for jumping in the booth here momentarily, giving us an update as he fights a slew of technical problems there in the Mid-Atlantic due to the severe weather that has rolled through the area earlier. You can see Ryan Ellis there going up, showing some love to the pace truck, as he's going to cut off the racing surface onto pit road. Christopher Benning is going to have the button. Green flag back in the air. We got problems already. Benning gets dumped right off the green flag, and we have a hot dumpster fire on the entrance to turn 1. And ladies and gentlemen, bear with me a moment as I believe one of the admins jumped up in here to the broadcast booth momentarily. I will be right back, but we're not going to cut coverage. We'll keep it right here as we're under caution for the 3rd time tonight for incident on the racetrack.
Unstable connection. So let's try this again. Discord. almost yet again having a problem. Man. Oh. And I believe, boys and girls, YouTube's having its own issues tonight as well. So that's nice. The land of YouTube is it freezes itself every so often. So I don't know if that's me or if that's YouTube or I don't know. I But seeing how my channel is down, it kind of seems to me like it may be YouTube. Oh, that makes sense now to why my channel's not working. You got it to somewhat go live. That's a positive, at least here. And I will check. Oh.
Race fans, welcome back to Concord Speedway. Here live in prime time tonight, right here live on Redline Racing Network is Tyler Landis, now showing his hand out there as he carries the torch up 2 spots from where he started, but he is under heavy duress from Travis Hofler. I mean, he is right there working mere inches off the back bumper of that 66. And I believe you do have that connection problem now stabilized with the YouTube Injust server. Oh, we got problems out there on the racetrack. And it looks like Jesse Newsom and Josh Cole may have a little bit of an incident. Or excuse me, that's Travis Hofler, as he got his feathers ruffled out there. Take a look here at his race car. Doesn't look like he's got too much damage. Should be able to continue, but nonetheless, not what that driver wanted to see. So I think it's safe now to go ahead and throw timing and scoring graphics back up on the broadcast. So let's go ahead and throw those graphics back up for following everyone at home.
I'm kind of handicapped on what I can do over here. But I promise next week Flo will make good and show up.
Well, Flo is flowing in some different ways right now, right? You're more of being the technical consult in the background, trying to help me and the team that we have here ensure that this broadcast be the best that it possibly can in spite of the technological issues that we're facing this evening. And Matt, quite frankly, I couldn't have done this without your help. So thank you very much, as always, first and foremost.
Okay, Extreme Sim TV News Report. YouTube servers in both America and Canada are having issues currently with live streaming. So if you have problems with your live stream, that would be why.
Yeah, luckily I'm taking something I learned when you and I had this issue probably a month ago and going back to that alternate Injust server, and so far so good.
Knock on wood.
It looks to be working pretty well right now. So, Matt, what can these drivers expect? You know, if you're a driver like Tyler Landis, Travis Hofler, Josh Cole, what's your strategy right now? Is we basically going to throw the green flag and have a shootout here to the end of this thing?
Put your right foot to the floorboard.
Put your right foot to the floorboard. And hopefully
that's all I've got.
That's all you got? And then hopefully you don't go sky ground, sky ground, sky ground, right?
Sky ground, sky ground, sky ground, air. Yeah. You don't want that.
No, you definitely do not want that. In fact, let's go on board with the 20 here for this restart. Green flag back in the air, hard on the throttle, and we are back to racing out here on the Speedway.
Back at it yet again. So good to see these guys. Oh, bananas.
Big time bananas. In fact, it's a zucchini, according to Matt.
Exactly.
And let's see here. Timing and scoring did not like it when I went on board, so let's widen things back out again here. As SDK went MIA in a big way. So we'll try to get that stabilized once again here. That should do it for this one, I believe, Matt. Try now to get this field racked and stacked once again. There we go. Timing and scoring made an appearance, and now it seems to have left the building again. There we go. 25 laps to go in this one right here. That field now gets racked and stacked behind that Chevrolet Silverado once again. Corey Bigley going to have P1. Outside front row is going to be Mike Fager. Josh Cole rolls off P3, while Joey Foote outside second row, P number 4. Rounding out the top 5, that's going to be Caden Hall with Adam Holston rolling off 6. 7th belongs to Ryan Ellison. Big Bad Brady in the 202 going to roll off 8th. Mason Cassidy 9th. Chad Peterson going to run up the top 10. Phil Ellis Jr. Watch for him to come towards the front. He's going to roll off here P11. And it looks like Bray Holmes, AJ are going to keep it on the hauler for this one, as they're currently not showing out there on the racetrack. So we send the cameras back to the front of this. Drivers making last-minute preparations. Anything that needed to check, make sure they go over the game plan, as they are now out of time as that pace truck pulls down pit road once again. Bagley is going to try to flex on the field here and keep P1. Barney's got the checker or the green flag in the air, and here we go as he climbs up through the gearbox. Great restart there by Bigley. 28 rides going to rip it along the bottom of the racetrack. And oh no, we got calamity in the back of the pack. Oh no, Ryan Ellis right off the rip having problems at 29. Missing a couple pieces off that race car, unfortunately. Just very unfortunate. See the 15 there coming down pit road as well. That's Caden Hall. Also got a piece of that action as that literally kicked off right near the back of this pack, just as we took the green flag. So those trends that we seen at the opening going to continue here, to at least continue on. Hopefully these drivers can get this sorted out. Big things popping, little things stopping. If you're Corey Bigley, and you saw some excellent restart mastery there as he looks to do it again, and he catches the field on the snoozer once more. But here comes Josh Cole cooking in P2 and hard on his heels. You know this guy knows how to put his foot in it. Talking about the 35 ride of Joey Foote, he knows how to get this car ripping around Concord. As he now runs in that third place position, new fastest lap. No surprise who it is, the man in P1, Corey Bigley. And that, see a little smoke off there in the distance. Now the field going to rack stack once more. Corey Bigley making all the right moves here, especially on these restarts. I mean, executing them to perfection, making it very difficult for Josh Cole, Joey Foote to figure out his cadence. You know, and I was told last night or I should say Sunday night in the Stacy Strong Cup Series by the winner, the best cadence on the restart is no cadence at all. Let's see what Corey Bigley has in store this go-round. So he's going to have to master or execute again here to keep these hungry pack of wolves behind him. I'm wondering about the biggest mover of the race. That's going to be Chad Peterson. Up 7 positions in that 37 machine. Pace truck pulls off. Nine's going to stay really tight here on the quarter. On the door, I should say. But Bigley takes him to the big leagues again, and he's going to walk away on the restart. Josh Cole really using a high line here. He took it up to the nosebleeds, in fact. Almost 3 wide. Corey Bigley now cracks off an 18.05 second lap time. These guys putting on a clinic. That Hornet's Nest right behind Joey Foote. This is World War II style trench warfare going on right now. This timing and scoring has puked the bed here once again. Desperately try to get it back to work with this graphics team in the background. So we've just been plagued by technical issues here tonight. Doing the best I can to ride this out and give you guys a great experience at home. As Corey Bigley continues to dominate here. In fact, he's almost walked it out to a 2-second advantage on the field. Let's go on board. You can hear the throttle work, the modulation, just how technical it is to get around this place. If you're wondering about just about the advantage, what that looks like, let's flip it around to the bumper cam. And you can see just what that 2-second interval looks like. As Chad Peterson, I mean, this man is on a tear. He is up 9 positions and starting now to close in. As last time by, Peterson just a little bit faster at a 17:61. Does he have enough time to get there? Go back around that 3rd place position. This is really starts to get hot and heavy out there on the racetrack. Chad Peterson currently runs 2nd at that, up 9 positions. Mason Cassidy, 2nd biggest mover of the race. He's up 7 spots on the pylon into that podium position in 3rd. Joey Foote, even with the board where he started, he currently runs in 4th, while Josh Cole slid back 2 positions. He is now holding on to a top 5 in his ride. Bill Ellis Jr., remember, he started deep in the woods, having a great run here. He's up 7 positions, while Adam Holston runs 7th. Mike Flancher in 8th. Caden Hall 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is Ryan Ellis there in the 29. Curious about the times here. Let's go ahead and see if we can get the time delta to fire up here for us. In fact, we're going to leave that alone as that'll put some extra weight on some of the components that really don't need test waters with that right now. As everyone continues to chase Corey Bigley, but Chad Paterson has now chopped that gap down to under a second in that 37, and I love how he actually has his number spelled out on the race car. However, he is under siege from Cassidy as he's got it eaten hard on the inside. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap this one up in the books. We're going to step aside again for another brief moment. Going to try and get scoring optimized just a little bit more for the main event here. We'll be right back. Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to Concord Speedway as the Southern Outlaws continue to do battle here tonight on this beautiful Wednesday evening. Good evening. Want to welcome again everyone to Red Line Racing Network. So we're currently in the warm-up as we get racked, stacked to do business here for 75 laps in our main event this evening. Commentary is going to take a quick pause as we continue to try and fix the timing and scoring issue that has plagued us with other issues throughout the course of the evening as we do our best to continue to work through this. We'll be back momentarily.
Hey guys, I'm back again.
For our 75 lap grand finale here tonight from Concord.
Well, I appreciate you coming out and doing this one tonight, man. Guys, I'll be back with you next week. I am going to take the rest of the night, I guess, to go clean because I got nothing else to do.
Well, hey, brother, I'm just glad I could be here to help you out, man. You take a break. I think we're good here. Timing and scoring seems to be stabilized. I appreciate all your help in the background, helping me get the stream stabilized for this for these guys here. We did not want to let them down. And
yes, and just an update before I go. Rafna was able to get their stream off, so they are live. By some miracle, we got that one going too. So,
well, hey, man, when there's a will, there's a way, right?
Yes, sir. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, you're very welcome. You have a great rest of the evening. And ladies and gentlemen, Matt J will be back at the helm next week. I will be alongside him, of course. But for right now, the remainder of tonight's high flying racing action going to be right here on Redline Racing Network, sister station to the one and only Extreme Sim TV. As that field now gets racked stacked behind that iRacing.com pace truck. Now begins to roll. as we now work lap 11 of 75. That's the scheduled distance here tonight from Concord. As Kyle Case continues to flex on the field here early. You know, this racetrack is slick and potentially probably one of the catalysts, is one of the culprits why we've had so many on-track incidences. Remember, the heat races were just plagued full of them, unfortunately. This racetrack a lot different in some ways versus where we were last week. And that could be posing some challenges as well to these drivers. Scott Austin in the 05 going to start here in that third place position. Let's ride along shotgun with him here on this restart. Let's see just how long it takes him to get up to speed here. Going to throw his telemetry lower right-hand corner of the screen for you folks at home. Looks to be a third gear start here, and green flag back in the air once again. Quickly gets it up into fourth gear. And you can see him having to drive cautiously here as Brian Hacker is absolutely trolling the back of Case here on this restart. In fact, from this view, it looks like he's almost helping push him or assist him around the racetrack. As Austin Scott has got his hands full right now in the middle of his trench warfare going out here on the racetrack. Gonna widen things back out for you folks at home once again. And it looks like we have trouble out there on the racetrack as that yellow flag is displayed once again. Let's see if we can find out what went wrong. Corey Bigley may have been involved here. Bigley in the 28. Oh, that's a 1-2 whack-a-mole that turns into a Three Stooges situation. The front of that Monte Carlo has left that race car. Let's go ahead and cue that replay up one more time. You can see here he gets into the corner a little hot, makes contact with the 9. Gets him loose, comes back up, makes contact with the 28. And an innocent bystander on the high side of the racetrack. So he's going to get him 2 for 1 there. And in fact, while we have time here under caution, let's go on board with Bigley as well. Going to slow things down again. So we go now on board with Bigley. You can see the contact made right here as we're getting into the corner. The 9 gets loose just a little bit. That's going to cost him some momentum. He administers the hit. You see the 9 overcorrect, going to shoot him up the racetrack. Going to make contact with Bigley, and then he careens to Hall, I believe, who was on the outside of him there. So we don't go on board with the 10. We'll go ahead and wind this back here, VHS style. If it'll let me. There we go. So we're going to watch this unfold now from the 10. Sees the smoke, hits hard on the binders. Was able to skate through that one, made it look easy. But sometimes it's just a matter of guessing. Go low, go high. And that time he guessed right. We get ready for the restart here. Green flag back in the air. Lap 21 of the scheduled 75 here from Concord. Lyle pleading his case once again as he is out there carrying the torch. And look at this. Is he going to go 3 wide? Are you serious? That hole is closed. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. He thought about it. Then he thought better of it. It's the only place that's safe. Seems to be if you're the leader of this one. And my God, is that Dylan Ritchie in the 26. He's like a hybrid E-assist out there at times. He gets drifty, squirrely off the corner there. Gonna force it right down in front of Hofler. So we stay green here for the moment. Is going to pull alongside. Little Monte Carlo on Monte Carlo action. Oh, we got big time problems at the front of this piece. Somebody's going to have some explaining to do. He's probably madder than a Keebler elf that got demoted to Fudge Packer. We got 4 drivers involved. Hall, Bigley, Liam, or 3, excuse me. So that's going to slow things down here once again. Put that yellow flag back in the air. So we go back now to the Red Line Racing Network instant replay. Just caught that one at the very end, so let's go ahead and wind this back. This literally broke out at the front of the field. And cue playback. This, of course, from the eye in the sky, what the chopper cam picked up. You see the 2 there. Just goes. Oh my God. Oh. Yep, I guarantee it. A couple guys not going to be happy about that one.
Whichever the one the longest is. So if you pit, you can't choose.
Roll this back again. Slow it down here. Let's go on board. It's 2 by 2, side by side. Noah's Ark situation here. This is where it all goes wrong here. The 61 just squeezing the heck out of the leader. He's going to come down, get him there in the quarter panel. And he got flow ridered right round, literally. Hopefully those two are going to have to sit together at the breakfast table tomorrow morning, because that's probably a conversation I'm not going to want to be a part of. Now go back to the live side of things. iRacing.com. Pace truck pulls off. Green flag. Presented again here at Concord. And here we go again. Now right in lap 30 of the 75 here in the history books. Ritchie going to have his turn at the point. As we go a little bit further back in the pack around that 6th place position, it starts to get really rowdy. That's going to be Jesse, Newsom, Cassidy. So they are 2 by 2. You can pitch a blanket or 10 over these guys, literally. So they're just, oh, caution. Flag again. Well, folks, sometimes cautions breed cautions. So I believe this one involving Joey Foote. Joey Foote there in the 35. That's going to be that Citgo Thunderbird. Working the bottom. He gets set to transition into the corner.
Choosing this time.
64 starts to get loose on his outside, starts to correct, save it. They make contact, and that's all that's needed where that car is really loaded up in the corner on the verge of losing grip. A little bit of help there from the two, and that's all it literally going to take. However, catastrophe avoided there for Foote, is that could have, would have, should have been a lot worse. And he'll continue to fight on and survive in that Ford Thunderbird. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step aside, pay some bills, but don't worry, we're going all-out coverage. You're not going to miss anything right here on Redline Racing Network. Fans, good evening and welcome back to Concord Speedways as the Southern Outlaws tear up the short tracks here tonight. Welcome to Redline Racing Network over on StreamSim TV's partner sister network. We resume coverage of the 75-lap main event here tonight. Is Dylan Ritchie. Pocket full of kryptonite in that ride, as he is gapping literally the competition right now over Austin Scott, Chad Peterson, that's the top three, Travis Hofler, and Mason Cassidy, who just, I might, by the way, mention that he is up 10 positions right now, second biggest mover of the race, who's in fourth. Travis Hofler in fifth, that's the top five as they run right now. This race, if you're just joining us, has been we'll just say it's been rather impacted by yellow flag syndrome. That has been one of the main storylines of this race, going all the way back to the heat races. And just as I say that, broadcaster's curse strikes again. Matt, why did you go there? We have another caution on the Speedway. Believe this one involving Brandon Anderson. See what went wrong here. Oh, he just got straight up dumped and monster trucked. Are you kidding me? That looked like something out of Stick Death from back in the day. Oh my good God. Heavens to Betsy. That's gonna leave a mark. We wind this one back.
I don't know if it goes to show how, not much I play this game, but that's the first time I've seen the damaged model and the guy's hood's literally smashed back into the windshield driving around the racetrack. Is that new in the update, or has that always been a thing?
Again, we're just doing it this way because it helps timing and scoring to stay intact here.
I've seen it last week or 2 weeks ago.
That should be good enough. Let's go back to playback here. Let's go on board. You can already see. I mean, he just sent it in there like grandma's business on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, the 66 is black flag for obvious right rear wrecking.
Choosing this time.
Now watch the 66 here. Just completely put it in the business end. He goes up. X Games style, almost clears.
Make the choose obvious.
In fact, well, we got the time. 66 has no idea where he's going as he went Dukes of Hazzard mode post-contact, because he literally had a car to the face. Granted, that may have been self-inflicted, but still.
My bad, Phil. I completely forgot we were choosing, bro. I wasn't paying attention. I was just up on the outside.
And again, trying to take you guys on board, but the 66, I believe, is Tyler Landis. So let's dissect this one more time. His hood is literally up in his face. Cannot see where he's going here. And you roll it back a little bit further. So here we go. You're on board now with Tyler Landis. You want to talk about a wild ride? Watch this. Doink. Around he goes. Space Shuttle, we have liftoff. Is that Monte Carlo literally riding on the front of his car? And then the hood's going to go ejecto. Pink. Instantly, like a scene out of Black Sheep, Chris Farley, and David Spade. Or I'm sorry, that was Tommy Boy, where the hood of their car went up in front of him. And he can barely see where he's going. A little bit of vision out the left side, but other than that, he's basically praying, holding on for the ride right now. As things just continue to get wilder here from Concord, the longer we run. Now resuming live competition, now working lap 54 of 75. Bill and Richie from Hamilton, Ontario. Myself, I'm from Niagara Falls, New York, so a hop, skip, and a jump from that Providence into Hamilton a few times. Beautiful area, especially this time of the year. Dylan Ritchie has the right. He's got the right recipe, the right setup in this Monte Carlo because he is absolutely booking it around this place. In fact, last time by, also the fastest car out there on the racetrack ran a 1779. But I'll tell you what, remember, Chad Pete up, caution again. Unfortunately, I have lost track on what the official caution count is for the evening thus far. But we've had a few of them this evening, to say the least. It's kind of a byproduct of Concord Speedway. It's prone to a lot of yellows. It's not easy to pass here. Sometimes it involves using the chrome horn. The bump and run, if you will. Tell you what, Chad Peterson, though, was keeping Richie honest there. I mean, he was slightly slower. I mean, not by much. In fact, I think if that would have stayed green, Peterson would have been faster within the next lap or two. Especially how he was trending there with the lap times. So this is going to be just 17 laps to go right now. In fact, now we're 16 to go. So it's going to turn into basically a Friday night old school style shootout. Local track style. And if we need the extra laps, we do have overtime at our disposal as well.
Quick question for you, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen Boss Man lately?
Mike, I am currently live right now. Give me one moment. Let me put it to commercial. I'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, under caution here at Concord. Don't go anywhere. We're going to stay all out coverage. We'll return momentarily. What in the world? I don't think I have the full story here, so we're going to roll this back again. It looks like he just looped the car there on his own. Talking about Jason Newsom, of course, before he comes down to pit road there, and then appears to have Alt F4'd out of the session. So nonetheless, that does throw a caution flag. And there have been plenty of those this evening. Now go back to the live side of things here once again. You guys want a high octane? Hold nothing back, let her rip tater chip style. All out warfare special to the finish. You're in the right place. Just 8 laps remaining on the board. How many restarts do we have to go through tonight? However, Dylan Ritchie in that 26 gonna have the button here. Lights go out on that iRacing.com pace truck. Makes that turn down pit road. The 50 going to keep him honest. Does not want to let him get the best of him on this restart. But Richie has been great on them. And he looks like he's going to get away again. But here comes the 50. Fighting really hard on the high side. Look at the charge in the outside lane. Adelia. Back in front of that 50 has Bugface. Oh, he's going to get loose there. Scrum a bunch of speed off. And here comes Hacker now coming into the picture. Brian Hacker, he knows how to make time out there on the racetrack. Great at saving tires. Let's see if he has something to say about this. Oh, the 50 is going to pay a visit to the bumper. Richie comes to the high side to block the advancing of that hard-charging Chevrolet Camaro. And, oh, folks, what are we doing? Caution out on the raceway again, just as it was getting good in the neighborhood up front. This is certainly going to force an overtime affair. So if you're a fan of overtime at home, get another can, beer, whatever your beverage of choice may be. Grandma's sitting next to me. She's got her 5-point harness buckled up tight. She has her life and flight alert buttons in her hand in one, and she's shaking her fist in the other. Says she's rooting on Brian Hacker in that too. Again, want to thank everyone for joining us here on Redline Racing Network here tonight as the Southern Outlaws once again put on a high-octane, caution-infused thriller. Well, there have been a lot of cautions throughout the course of this evening. The racing has been right where you expected it to be. Top shelf. I'll tell you what, if you want to race with these boys, you better have some big lug nuts on that race car if you want to hang with these guys. Richie Hacker, that's the front two. Then you got the 50 machine, James Liam and Mason Cassidy, row number 2. Scott Austin, Travis Holfler, Corey Bigley, Justin Olson, Joey Foote and Kyle Case round out the top 10. Hold your breath, folks. It all comes down to this, the calm before the storm. Quiet enough in this racetrack to hear a pin drop, but that's going to change in just moments as we get ready to unleash overtime mayhem at its finest. Does Brian Hacker have what it takes? Potentially steal one here from Richie? Or do they have a kerfuffle of their own and someone else punches their ticket in victory lane? Strap in, we're about to find out. 3 laps remaining. Green flag in the air. And Richie trying to hold off a hard charge in Brian Hacker and that 50 machine eating on the inside. Richie's going to come up and try to block the top plate. Oh, he's blocking 2 lines. That's going to cost him a little momentum, though, as Hacker and Liam make contact. That's going to allow Richie to get away here on the final lap, and that might seal the deal. As he comes through the 3 and 4 complex. Checkered flag in the air. Dylan Ritchie rolls through Concord with a commanding victory as Brian Hacker, James Liam round out your top 3. What a thriller here at the end. Because if you think Brian Hacker and that driver of the 50, James Liam, weren't doing everything they possibly could to get up there and challenge, that was probably some of the best three laps of racing I have seen in a long time. So now we'll get a chance to interview our top 3 finishers as we wait for them to come up into the waiting room. An exciting piece of action here from Concord is Dylan Ritchie is going to come away with a big-time win here. Brian Hacker in second, James Liam in third. We just await these drivers come up here into the waiting room. In fact, I'm going to grab our P2 driver here. See if I can get Hacker. Brian Hacker, Matt up in the booth. You got a copy there, brother?
I've got you, Matt.
Well, hey, man. Last week, we seen you put on a clinic, and I thought to myself, does Hacker go ahead and back up that performance? And, man, you absolutely did. Talk to me about this race. Walk me through it. You guys put on another clinic. You had to drive through a lot of that wrecks the turmoil on the racetrack, and here you are again with another podium finish. Walk me through that race tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty chaotic. You know, I'm not a huge Concord fan. I think you either love it or you hate it, and I'm not a big fan of it. So, wasn't really too excited about seeing it on the schedule. But it was crazy, and you know, I think there's a lot of fast guys and a lot of talent in this league, and then you know, I think there's a handful of guys that just need to learn a little bit about racecraft and patience. You know, you can be fast, and it means absolutely nothing if you can't get around for 75 laps and keep the fenders and tires on it. So, you know, I think there's, you know, a lesson to be learned, especially here. It's a tough track to get around. The track was hot. These tires don't grip up like a lot of other cars. So, it was a kind of a battle of patience more than anything tonight, and happy with the second place finish, which would have loved. I mean, we were in first place for about a corner and a half. Would have loved if we could have gotten out front early and just set sail, but at least it made our night exciting.
It certainly was an exciting night. And you mentioned this racetrack. What makes this place more difficult than others, especially when some drivers may not have as much patience as they needed to have at a racetrack that was almost 137 degrees at times? What makes this place a little more technical than others?
Yeah, I mean, that was a big part of it tonight, was that the track was just real hot. But it's a triangle. As one guy put it, it's like the Pocono of mini Pocono of death or something like that. It's a
The mini
triangle, and
Pocono of death.
yeah, I thought that was pretty clever too. But so turns 1 and 3 are about as close as you get to a traditional oval corner, but they don't have the same radius, right? So you're not turning for as long. So there's that challenge of it, and then the back chute dog leg is really high speed, but you kind of lose some downforce going through the middle of it, and the car can get really tail happy on you. So just it's a different beast in and of itself. I mean, some people love it. It's not necessarily my favorite style of racing, but at the same time, you get a good group of guys out here that can stay off of each other and learn to race within their means. I think it could be a lot of fun.
Hey, very well said, and thanks for that excellent breakdown. One more question. I'm going to turn it over to you. Do you feel like at times you had to use the bumper? I don't want to say smash to pass, but was it just, it almost seemed like at times if you wanted to go forward, if you couldn't go to the high side and make it work like you were able to, it almost seemed like you had to use that bumper? Or is that just where that patience comes into play and you wait for someone to make a mistake in front of you and then you go on the attack?
Yeah, tonight actually, more than anything, I did not want to use the bumper because it was so slick and it was so tail happy that if you got into somebody, even just trying to move them up a lane, you got into them too hard, they're going to go around, and then any position that I gained back, I would have had to give it up and start at the tail. So I was really trying not to get into people. I think where we were able to make up some ground was on corner exits. You really had to have some throttle control, especially off of 1 and off of 3. If I could get under somebody or get exit a little bit lower and get the throttle down a little bit quicker than they could, then you could get around people. And then when we bunched up on restarts, you could actually make up some positions on the high side if you had the balls to do it.
I love the way you phrase that. Have the balls to do it. And I know from watching you, you'll absolutely will put yourself in the best position to win or highest up on the podium each and every time behind that virtual cockpit of the race car. Brian, before we cut you loose, who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done on the 2?
Yeah, so Scott Austin Designs, he's got a lot of good looking rides. His car, and he finished 4th. He had a great run tonight. And his car, my car and his car, I think 2 of the best looking cars out here. Old Dylan up front there in Victory Lane, he's got a really sharp one this week too. But shout out to Scott, everybody on the side of the car. So Austin Designs, Aberdeen Lodge, Carbon Junction, Boulder Beer Bar, all the guys that have been supporting me for a little bit. We've got some guys out here, Scott, Travis, myself. We got Philip Martin to come play with us tonight. A lot of us go way back. We've been racing each other for a long time. I've known Corey Bigley for a little while now too. So cool to see these guys show up, and it's fun to race with a good group. And hopefully next week some of these guys that feel like they have to run through each other to move forward can learn a little bit of patience, and they'll hopefully figure it out at the end. It actually pays off.
Well, Brian, I want to thank you for your time up here in the broadcast booth. Congratulations on that second place finish. And ladies and gentlemen, Brian Hacker, no slacker here in the Southern Outlaw Series. Once again, he shows that he has the poise, the skill set, and the determination to go out there and make things happen in an exciting fashion in prime time as he comes home with another spectacular second place finish here this evening. I want to thank you for your time. Drop him back down.
Thanks, man.
You're very welcome. Drop him back down to the waiting room. Now going to bring up our third place finisher. James, Matt up top in the booth. You got a copy there, my friend.
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, hey, man, great outing there for you this evening. Come home with a third place finish. Walk me through this race from your standpoint. Was it everything you thought it was going to be, or did you kind of have to kind of let this one rip by the seat of your pants and just get up on the wheel and make things happen for you to come home third?
Well, based on what I was watching in the heat races, I was kind of hoping everybody would chill out during the feature, but that was wrong. And then when me and Brandon got into each other, that just sent me all the way to the back. I knew it was going to be difficult. So it's just get your elbows up and just make moves. And I think there was one lap I made up 6 positions on the outside. So
Yeah.
you gotta do what you gotta do. And I definitely burnt up my right front doing that too many times. So I didn't really have too much for Dylan there, especially with these short runs.
Were all these restarts for you as a driver, were they frustrating? I know you mentioned you're able to gain 6 positions there on the outside. I was going to ask you about that as well. But what does that do to a driver when you're consistently having to, get into that racing mindset, and then the yellow flag comes out and then you have to slow back down and go through those transitions? Is it tough to keep doing that over the course of the run when you're trying to just get that rhythm as a driver out there?
It definitely is at certain tracks, but here at this track, for how slick it was, honestly, the cautions were nice because it cooled the tires right back down. But I definitely would have liked to seen at least a 50-lap green flag run, because I definitely think Dylan probably would have not won this race if that was the case. So, but it's cautions breed cautions, and that's the main thing in iRacing. So, and especially on a tricky track like this, it's difficult. So, that's for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, you don't want to see me run this place, because it would be an abomination compared to what you guys are able to do out there. I'll take all the coaching from you anytime. And before I turn it over to you to thank your sponsors, partners, etc., talk to me about that battle there at the end with Brian Hacker. I mean, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, I've raced Brian for, years, man, on the official iRacing series of Street Stocks, and same thing with Chad Peterson and Dylan as well. They probably don't recognize me, but I've raced them a lot, when I was like a teenager. I've all grown up now. I'm 26. So, but yeah, I know racing Brian there was going to be tough, and I wasn't going to put him in the wall when I had plenty of chances to do it. I race a lot cleaner with people that I know and respect. So, but it was good racing. I was definitely trying to move Dylan. I'm not even gonna lie. I threw it in there like 3 times trying to move him, and I think one of them was good enough, but then I got on the gas way too hard and I slid it sideways, and I was like, dang it, So.
No, that was some good, hard-fought trench warfare racing. Obviously, I'm sure he was throwing it in there too. I mean, that's what you love to see coming down at the end. And obviously, you guys didn't wipe each other out. You fought the good fight and show. That was textbook, how you can put on a great show and not wad the cars up at the end of this thing.
Exactly. That's just good racing. People who know how to drive.
Hey, well said. I couldn't have said that any better myself. And before we cut you loose, man, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on the 5-0?
Well, thanks to Southern Outlaws. This is my first time ever racing this league, and I definitely would have liked to seen less cautions, but, good group of guys. Hopefully it clears up at Hickory. Thanks to Maximum Velocity Racing League. It's the league I own. A bunch of guys there support me, and thanks to Turn 200. They're the ones that broadcast my league and let me have fun. So.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate you being here in competition, and way to make a name for yourself, right? And this league typically doesn't have this many cautions. In fact, last week they put on one heck of a show. I'm pretty certain those caution flag laps will certainly trend down next week. But ladies and gentlemen, driver of the 50, that is James Liam, who knows how to flex on the competition, comes home with a solid place, 3rd place finish, and was absolutely electrifying in the closing laps with his battle of Brian Hacker. He'll reload, reset, and look to repeat or even show up with a win next week as the series moves on. James, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Matt.
Appreciate you, bud. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that leaves just one person left to speak with this evening. And the driver that had the man with the plan tonight, Dylan Ritchie. Matt up in the booth. You got a copy, bud.
Yeah, how you doing, Matt?
Man, you tell me, you put on one heck of a drive here tonight. You come away with a big time win. How you feeling right now at the end of this thing?
We're feeling pretty good to be able to find victory lane again, seeing as we came up a little bit short last week due to some little mistakes here and there. So it's good to find that again. It's unfortunate we didn't get a lot of green flag laps. I feel like it definitely would have came down to some good racing there at the end. Brian's always a heater in here, and we usually put on a good show together.
Well, I understand what you're saying about the the amount of cautions that we've seen tonight. I can tell you from my experience, you don't want me racing out there on this racetrack with you guys. I'll probably throw one every other lap. It's very technical track to get around. It gives me fits personally, but it seemed like you knew exactly how hard to drive your car, when to push it, when to just wait for things to happen in front of you. How are you able to just put together such a great performance? Is that just from experience, reps at this racetrack, or just a combination of everything?
I'm definitely familiar with this track. I've ran here lots and lots of times, whether it's one of these, a late model, or an SK. I've come here a lot, so you tend to know the track and you know the corners a fair bit. The setup car was pretty loose. Like, it was definitely pretty loose tonight, so you just gotta end up figuring out when you can throttle it and when you can brake it. I know a couple of times going to that last corner, I just braked a little too hard, threw it in a little too hard, and then ended up sideways myself. I know Leeham behind me was definitely trying to bump me out of the way a couple times. I felt him there, but we just hung on to it.
I was going to ask you about that. You were taking the words right out of my mouth. Talk to me about the battle with the 50. I mean, that was certainly exciting to watch up here in the booth. What was it like from your perspective out there on the racetrack?
It's just hard racing a lot of the time, right? I know if I was in his position, I'd be trying everything I could to move him cleanly and get around him, everything like that. But no, it was good. I seen him coming a few times, so it was just a little harder on the brake. At least tried to make it hurt a little bit, you know?
Hey, well said. I could not agree with you more. You mentioned there was a lot of cautions, this race. You got a lot of restart practice, if you will. That final restart when we were 3 laps to go, and you had Hacker and Liam stacked up behind you. When you were watching those two guys just throwing haymakers at each other, what was it like at that point in time in the race start when you started, walking away from those guys? Did you know right then and there that you had it in the bag, that this was your race to win?
Yeah, for the most part. Once I seen them kind of battling each other, I just kind of put it in cruise at a good pace and just kind of brought it home to the finish.
Well, hey, man, I couldn't think of a better way to top the night off than in victory lane here in Concord with such a dominating performance here tonight. Just showing how to, showing these guys and everyone at home how to get it done here on a very technical racetrack, especially when the asphalt at times was reaching 137 degrees Fahrenheit. Dylan, before I cut you loose, man, who helps you get it done? Who do you want to thank?
I just want to thank everybody for coming out to our league here that we have set up. It's always a pleasure to have everybody come out and run. I want to thank Elite Performance Industries, raceepi.com. They help me out a lot in the official races with setups and everything like that. And then just Justin Brooks Designs for all my paint schemes.
Well, there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, it was time for Dylan Ritchie to be in P1 here in primetime when all is said and done, with just a high-octane performance from him and everyone else currently out there in competition tonight. But he gets the hard-fought victory. That is the driver of the 26, Dylan Ritchie. Thanks for joining us up here in the booth, bud.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for broadcasting every week. It's a pleasure.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to watch you guys. You put on a heck of a show each and every time.
Thank you, sir.
Go ahead and I'll put you back down in the waiting room. Well, there you heard from the winner tonight here, ladies and gentlemen. The track was treacherous. It was hot. It was slick. You had to know when to go, and you had to also, on the other side, utilize some patience and wait for things to happen in front of you. And, as we heard from some of the other guys, a little luck always helps along the way. But only one person can punch their ticket into victory lane, and that was Dylan Ritchie. Brian Hacker comes home second, and James Leeham in a hard-fought battle, door-to-doors banging, everything you could ask for, coming down to the wire at the end. Again, don't forget, next week you'll be back live on Extreme Sim TV. as we had to come over to the sister channel because of YouTube and network issues. But we were so glad and thankful we're able to get this broadcast out for you guys tonight. And like all good things must come to an end, including this broadcast, I want to thank all the partners, sponsors, and drivers, men and women behind the scenes. Without you, without your help and support, this couldn't be possible. And as the late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, as you walk down the road of life this week, ladies and gentlemen, do us all a favor. Don't play in traffic. Good night, and we'll see you next time right here on Redline Racing Network.